everyone, and welcome back. I'm Adrienne Monique Alvarez with Alma Publishing, and I'm so excited to be interviewing one of our featured contributors in Uncensored, Untamed, Unleashed. Welcome, Therese Skelly. How are you?
I'm so good. I'm delighted to be with you, my dear. Thank you.
I feel the same way. So I have my book here.
Mm-hmm.
I've read your chapter. I've got a few places I'm going to go back and circle and line, and we'll talk about. But first off, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, whatever you want to share there.
Okay. So I started out my professional career as a psychotherapist, and that has served me really, really, really well. And then at a certain point, I'm like, yeah, I'm sick of hearing about, your stories, how your mommy hurt you. I decided to move over to life coaching. I did that in 2001. So I've been in this industry for like 21 years now. And then I landed in business coaching, and it was such an interesting leap because, Adrienne, I had no background in business. I had zero. I just was a scrappy kid that was like, okay, I'll learn. All right. And along the way, what I discovered is it's really a personal growth thing. It's like, oh, okay. I didn't realize it would be, it would be so much inner work, right? Somebody can't just give you here's a strategy, go, because you bump into yourself. And so throughout the years, I've gotten really good at teaching, the business concepts, the marketing, the sales, and all the copywriting, and all the things. But my mastery is in the energy piece. My mastery is in helping like soul-driven, mission-driven women really do the work to be able to get their work out in the world. I feel like we're really aligned. When we connected, we're like, soul sister. So
seriously, it's the truth. Everything that you're saying, I'm like, yep. That's when I read your chapter, I was like, she wrote my story. Whoa, she's oh yeah, I do that too. Oh, been there, done that.
Yes, yes, yeah.
And that's what I love. So in this book, you shared so many things. So I've got my little bookmarker.
Okay.
I want to dive into a few things because I feel like this is so timely because the world gave us an opportunity to approach life, approach ourselves, approach work, everything differently, right? Family. Yeah. And some people took it easily, some with their heels dug in, some are still like, hell with you, right? And you talk about the power of letting go, which is, I mean, one of the most difficult things we can do.
Yes.
Now, one of the aspects I'd love you to share about the injuries, the COVID, the finger, the things that just kept landing you on your back and you just had those WTF moments.
Yes.
What was that feeling like?
Should I tell the story or should I tell the feeling? Because it's okay. Yeah. So in 2019, I got like super strong. I was doing Pilates 4 days a week. And usually I was the oldest woman in the class and I was the most flexible. What? You know what I mean? And I felt so great in my body. And then I was riding, I was on a vacation and I had an accident where I fell and I broke my wrist. So it took me out. So from August of 2020, I guess, 2020 until December of 2021, I was in a splint and/or in therapy and I couldn't do anything. But business was good. I was like, yeah, okay. So 2020 wasn't bad. It was a pain in the ass because I had a massive splint, but it wasn't bad. And then I'm like, okay, my gosh, I literally got discharged from physical therapy on December 28th. And I'm like, yes, I can start exercising. 2 days later, my beloved dog gets killed. 3 days later, my son brings COVID home. And I know I was so blown open from the grief of the dog that I got COVID and I got it really badly. It affected me for a really long time. And so then I'm like slowly healing from because my lung damage was just pretty bad. And so I finally, I'm like, okay. In August, I go to Pilates for like I had 3 classes. The first class, I'm just like, I can't even, oh my God, I can't even breathe, but I did it. And then I did a second class, then I did a third class. And then on September 5th, I was sitting in a park with my dog and I was in such a peaceful place. I'm like, okay, I'm finally back. And I'm literally just holding, he was laying down, have the leash in my hand. And as somebody walked behind me, and I guess the dog thought uh-oh, gotta protect mama. And he just lunged, which just broke my finger. I couldn't even move my hand. Finger was like dangling. So after 1 week, so this is the second time in less than a year, and talk about a WTF. Adriana, I was like, something like I'm just a walking curse. Something has to be so freaking wrong with me that here I am sabotaging every freaking thing. I worked to get healthy, and then boom, I'm on my back. So it wasn't pretty. I was terrified because I'm like, well, apparently I'm so unaware that I'm just hurting myself all the time. And then B, not trusting that anything good can happen and I've never been like that. I'm like, oh my God, of course it's going to work out. I'm always so positive. But when that injury happened on a soul level, I was shattered. I was like, oh, this is scary, because I've done decades of work on myself. So for me to have these accidents, it was just like, I don't even know what's going on. So that was that.
And I think when you said that right there, I had always been this optimistic, of course everything's going to work out, to kind of like what's coming next. Like, can I trust what's coming around the corner? You know,
Yeah.
I like to call this the person who goes from smiling at the future to the person who begins to dread it, because what else is going to happen?
I was going to have surgery, and I literally felt like I'll probably be killed in surgery. Like if I can't even keep my joints intact, something serious is going to happen to me. Because look what keeps happening. I mean, I had to do boatloads of work on that one. And there's past lives. There's all the healing that I got to do to uncover what that was. But like you said, I had never dreaded the future. I'm in this shit and I'm like, woohoo, there's a pony. You know what I mean? I'm so that person. And so it was shattering. It was absolutely that part. And then anyway, you keep asking questions. I'll just go where you want me to go.
I love this. And what I love about what you are willing to share is it shows how even when you've done a lot of work, even when you know who you are, things are going to happen. And it's like they'll throw us off guard. They'll take us by surprise. But there was a point in your chapter where you said, I just kept being willing to surrender to this and know somehow, even though I can't understand it, I can't see it, this is happening for me.
Yes.
This is happening for me. If somebody is in that spot and they're just like, there's one shit thing after another, and life is not for me, how do you cross that bridge? What would you recommend?
Part of our journey that we share is grief journeys. I've had a lot of losses. This isn't the first rodeo of being injured or having a tremendous life-shattering loss. And for me, the foundation of my life is deep faith. The foundation is understanding that I'm not just this random victim that's being bounced about by the cosmos. For me, and I've been on the planet lots of decades, right? I can also say, wow, the thing that I thought was the absolute most painful, horrible, on the other side of that, damn, there were some gifts. And so I've really taught myself, number one, I really do believe, and I feel all the feelings. So I don't just spiritual bypass and go, okay, thank you, Jesus. Things are hurting now, but I'll be fine. Like, I don't do that. I feel all the feelings. I just, I feel sorry for myself. I do the work. And then after processing feelings, then I get to the point of like, I don't see it now, but I'm trusting the wisdom. I'm trusting the divine. I'm trusting that I'm always taken care of. And at the end of last year, when all that ended, I'm the best version of myself I've ever been. Like, I am like, holy crap, because I surrendered, because it was so shocking. It was so like, I don't have another choice. And I think, Adriana, the challenge we have when you say, how do you get over it? Stop freaking resisting it. Like, I use the expression, like, sometimes you just got to bow to the altar of what is. Sometimes it is bigger. Sometimes you can't just keep going on. You have to just go, wow, this isn't my space. I got to acknowledge the depth of it. I have to understand the magnitude, the existential, life-shattering, potential altering and be in it, and don't wish
Mhm.
it away, and don't try to expedite it. You sometimes, and that's a hard one, because we're in this, like, quick fix, like 5 steps to instant
Yeah,
prosperity. Like
right.
we're in that, right? As opposed to how to feel like shit for 6 months but grow. Like nobody's selling that, but that's the real world. And so
Mhm.
connect with faith, understand that you've survived everything else, trust that there's a wisdom that is leading you to the next right and perfect thing,
Mhm.
and then be in whatever you're asked to be in. And
Mhm.
understand that there's seasonality, right? Sometimes people are very generative and life is good and bubbly, and other times it's dark and wintry. Can't fight it. Surrender to it. Mine it for the gifts.
Mhm. So, so true. It's I think it was Jim Rohn. One of my favorite things he
Mhm.
said is, "Whatever is up will come down, and whatever's down will go up." And sometimes when I'm in a real like, "What the hell is going on?"
Yes. What? I
I'm just,
know.
it'll go
Yeah.
back up,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Okay, so part of what you share that I also want to talk about is when you were having this rest, this downtime. It's okay. Usually it's my kids in the background.
It's a
So
dog. Sorry. Make
I'm
sure
okay
somebody's
with
here.
that. I'm
Yeah.
usually the one who's like,
Sorry. Sorry. Yeah. Keep going.
pets and kids, we just throw them into. You talk about when you were giving yourself this time on the couch and with shows and eating cookies and being the same, cut from the same cloth.
Mhm.
I know how hard it is. That's like more challenging than giving us 36 things to do in the next hour, right?
Oh my gosh. Unfortunately, if you will, I broke my dominant hand. So there's literally, I was like, and you can do voice dictation. That's kind of a pain in the ass to have to run a business with. Like, that was really hard. And so I always thought I was really good at, oh, I take baths every day. Like, I give myself permission to binge on Ted Lasso and things. Like, I really thought, Adriana, I was like, no, I do great self care. But here's what I realized, because this was kind of an extended version. This wasn't just like a weekend. This was like crap, weeks and weeks. And what I kept getting, this interesting part, I kept getting, your job is to heal right now. Your work is to
Mhm.
heal. It's not to market. The only thing you are here to do is heal. That's it. Do nothing. And do you want me to? I can stop that in a
You're
minute if you want.
okay.
Okay.
You're okay.
And so the challenge became the voices in my head. I was doing the physical part. I was like, okay, I'm going to sit here. I'm going to eat gluten-free cookies a little bit. I'm just going to sit. And yet I was restless. I wasn't happy. I wasn't surrendered to it in the beginning. I was like, I'm a stinky loser. God, come on. You know what I mean? And then I just had to get like, or this is a gift.
Mm,
Or, wow, you have money in the bank. When will you ever have this much expansive time? Like, the thing we always wish we have time, but I'm like pissing all over it because I'm like, oh God, I wish I could write a marketing email. I should see something. I just was like, and so it was fascinating. It really, for me, became like, look at your identity.
yes.
Can you not just be okay being still? Apparently not, because I'm judging. You had 2 cookies. Oh my God, you fat ass! 2 cookies, really? And I'm like, or just be tender. Just be tender. Give yourself a month. Who cares? The world's not going to end. So it was a fascinating, because again, I had the identity of, I take great care of myself. I'm very gentle on myself. Apparently not. So I got to learn more.
Mm, I could feel this so much. And when you said that restless part, it's
Yes.
like we can do the thing. We can
Mhm.
be physically right
Yes. Yes.
in the action or in the nothing or in the being, and then that
Right. Right.
internal world is, like you said, our greatest enemy becomes our own voice, and all the sirens that are going off saying, oh no, this is not how we do it, right?
Yes. Yes.
I want you to talk a little bit about why this happens. What is it in our society, our culture, our upbringing, where it's just like, listen, you're only as good as your last achievement, you're only as valuable as your income. How do we work through this?
So those are two questions. One is why, and then the other one is how. And the why is, I'm a little bit older than you, but I very much was raised as a codependent female. And
Mhm.
my role was I became a freaking therapist. Duh, hello, right? And so we as women are, and men too, right? We are socialized that, and I think women though, it's even, I think men get permission, have gotten more permission to go play sports and do
Mhm.
like role based things. And so very often we are wired, our whole identity is who am I helping? What am I doing? How am I serving? How am I showing up to be of service? And there's like a blessing and a curse of being really mission driven. That really is like, oh my gosh, I'm just here to do good. And I'm like, and are you doing that at the sacrifice of your own life? Are you doing that messing up your energy, your relationships? I've tipped over there. We all have, right? So driven that our kids are in the background and we're like, shh, I know you don't do that. You've got a really beautiful balance. But a lot of women have been trained that you get the good stuff. People see you positively when you are giving and doing. And there's still kind of the hustle culture. I just actually recorded a podcast about this. That you don't need to grind, you need to ground. You don't need,
Mm.
like I have this idea that what happens is we get trapped. Our world is faster, faster, more and more and more and more and more. It's all about that. And that is not sustainable, especially for a woman's physiology, for our energy. We are very much like, oh, we need to be in touch with nature and our bodies and our loves, right? We're more, if you can see my hands, I'm doing all the yummy, like, and yet we've been socialized to live from our heads and our
Oh, yeah.
ideas and let our big brains run. And so how to break it, number one, start identifying. When you have awareness, you have choice. If you are aware, like, damn, I feel really out of balance. Like when I first started my business, of course you attracts like, right? And my VAs, we would literally have business calls at 11:30 at night because we all had smaller children. And we'd be like martyring ourselves. Oh my God, can you believe that? You know what I mean? Okay, that's insane. That is insane. And but there was like a badge of honor, like,
Yeah.
look, and that there is that in the space. Like, oh, are you willing to kill it? Are you like, there's very much male predatory, like, that kind of energy out there. And for a woman, that'll fry your adrenals. So are you doing that? And is there a payout for doing that? For me, it was my identity. Like, yeah, look what I'm willing to do. I gave all of it up. Silliness. So the first thing you can do is understand, am I in there? What would I fear if I let that go?
Mm.
That's a huge driver, the resistance. Like when I talk about identity, what if somebody called you lazy or selfish? You need to be able to say, uh-huh. Yes, sometimes yes, as opposed to I'm not lazy, I'm never selfish. Like when you have a charge like that. So what would you fear if you dropped off of the what are those things called? The hamster wheel,
Yes.
and just worked based on your energy and what's in alignment? You are a beautiful, beautiful demonstration of doing that.
Mm.
Right? Are
Mhm.
you living true to your values? If family is your value, are you living with your family? If are you living in a way, or are you killing yourself for the almighty dollar and or the role of whatever you're in? So you got to pull this stuff apart because it will break eventually if you don't.
Yeah, talk about the crash and burn, right? It'll
Yes,
happen.
yes, yes.
And
But
I like what you said about physically we don't handle it well,
oh
right?
my
Our
gosh, no.
adrenals, thyroid, you see
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, across the board. Or relationships. I know so many women whose relationships end, or they're estranged from their children, or they're just not happy, like living just like, I mean, there was a point, Adriana, where I had made the six figures, and I remember doing this one launch, and I got off the phone. I was with my marketing manager, and I was crying, going, I hate this. I feel like I built this beast, and I am a hostage to the beast.
Hmm. Mm.
But
Mm.
my ego was running. My ego was like, I have a six-figure business, and that was a five-figure launch. Ugh. But the truth was, I hated it. So I just literally let it fall away. So it takes, again, we go back to, it's all, can you trust that you'll be taken care of if you do whatever you know to do? So I knew to let the business, there's been multiple times, and you probably have too. Like, I got to let this fall away, or I have to transition out of this. You have to trust that wherever you're being called is in the right alignment for you.
And I think, I have been there so many times, and sometimes it's literally having a little talk with myself
Yeah.
when I'm having this panic,
Yeah.
like I hold the whole world together, like I'm actually the general
We
manager,
do though.
right?
That's the myth, right? That's where we go. Yeah.
It's like as soon as you say it out loud, you're like, "This is so ridiculous," and yet I believe it to my core, right?
I know. I know.
And I remember the thing I found so interesting about your story and the
Mhm.
conversations that we've had and the work, the process that you surrendered to is I was running a parallel path. It was last year about this time when I heard nothing you've done before is going to work anymore,
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
And literally telling myself like, do you believe that if you stop behaving in this way, you stop this way of being,
Mhm.
that you're going to become homeless and desolate and you have nothing to do? I mean, is that really, you've come this far
Really.
and I'm there, you
Mhm.
know?
Mhm.
And yet, like you said, it comes back to this, what do I really believe? I'm taken care of. I'm provided.
That's it. That's it. 100%. 100%. I don't know if I told this story. And so 2021 was such a hard year. I literally stopped almost all marketing efforts. I had clients that had contracts and I saw them. It was the lowest amount of money that I brought into my business. And yet I got thousands of dollars of monies in the door.
Mm.
I'm like, "What, really?" Like, "Oh, here's an insurance policy that here's a refund for 5,000. Oh, and here's a this, and here's a this, and we're gonna forgive those PPP loans for 14,000." I'm just like, I had I had more money in my bank account at the end of the year, barely marketing. And so my source is not my clients that I see. My source is my source. And so I just have to go, okay, if I'm guided, I'm not going to be hung out to dry. Like if I follow the guidance, then wouldn't I trust that I will be supported? So I always say, you know what? I take care of my body, my energy, my family. God takes care of the rest. And
Mm.
when you live that truth, when you know it, it's easy. If you don't know, if you are the center of the world, if you are what makes you can't stop because you buy in the myth that you created all.
Yeah, it's so true. It's
Yeah.
sort of like when you talked about this big thing that's happening, it's actually bigger than me. So maybe I should bow to it. And this whole thing of course, this is all bigger than me. So I
Mhm.
can be taken care of. I mean, if the
Yes,
birds
yes.
are not worried, why am
Right.
I, right?
Exactly. 100%. That's a beautiful reminder. That's right. That's right.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, so I I just want to tell you I appreciate the
Mm,
journey that you've taken
thank
for
you.
expressing it, for sharing it, for being this real because this is often what's completely left out. But
Yeah, nobody shows up and says, "Hi, wow, I had a horrible year, made so much less money." Like nobody does that ever. Nobody ever does that. But that is real. And we're guides, right? And how dare us only put the shiny? How dare us only put the photoshopped Photoshop version? We need
filters.
the filtered version. Yeah, it's not working so well today. How dare us do that? We do no service. And so to me, the service is you don't have to feel alone if you're here.
Mm.
I'm all about hope and inspiration. And so if I can share my story and another woman can say, oh, it's not just me and there's a way out, I do it again.
Mm. Mm.
So
Absolutely. And this is the beautiful thing is there is another way to do this.
absolutely. Yes, yes.
There's and that's where we're headed. I can't tell you there's this theme that's showing up. Those who are brave enough to
Mm,
share it, and it's
mhm,
showing me there is another way, and we're finding our way there, and we're beginning to trust
right.
it. Mm. Where can people learn more about you and the work that you do?
Thank you, darling. So thereseskelly.com is my website. Um, I think you should go to my Facebook page, Therese Skelly, not my business page, because I don't really do a lot there, but my personal Facebook page. Yeah, I put a lot of inspirational stuff. I put a lot of wisdom, pictures of my cute boyfriend and dogs, and but definitely, find me on Facebook. And I've got a fabulous podcast called the Fiercely Brilliant Podcast. I need to get you on as a guest as well. Oh, you did. You already did. I'm like, wait a minute. Wait. You already did that. I'm sorry. That was
I was gonna
a
say
free moment. Yeah, that was
that's
a yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I'm like, wait. Well, maybe you should come back again. That's what we're
Yeah.
saying. You need to come back. That's what it is. Anyway,
I would
yeah,
come back. No,
come back.
it's true. Definitely check out her podcast. It's
In
amazing. And
our
one of the things,
episode, holy crap, yeah,
yeah, I actually just emailed yesterday and
saw
I'll be
that.
posting again. So actually I'll just stick it in here too.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things about your podcast is that you don't want people coming on and yammering about their whatever,
Mhm,
expertise, and
mhm,
you go deeper. And that's what I'm also hungry for is,
mhm.
yes, I know you're an expert. I know you're good at what you do. And what else is there to you?
Yes, yes. What's real? What's real? Because you know what, the expert things, there's a dime a dozen. If I want to learn how to increase my marketing, I could go to YouTube but a person talking about their heartfelt real journey, that's more yummy to me. And so
Absolutely. All right. I want to remind everyone to pick up their copy of Uncensored, Untamed,
yes.
Unleashed. It's on Amazon. You can get Kindle, paperback, whatever you'd like. And if you're ready to share your story in our next book, I've put the link down. We're doing Sacred Redesign.
Woo.
Therese, thank you so much for joining me.
It was lovely, lovely, lovely.
All
Love
right.
your energy. Okay, bye now.
Until next time, here's to surrendering, bowing to what is. Bye.